Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my personal shop that I refer to as the East Lake House of Speed. This video is just going to be a little introduction to my channel. I race with the Southeast Gassers. The last 3 years I have campaigned a 56 Chevy named Moonshot in A-Gas. And as you can see behind me back here, we've got some new plans for this year coming up. This channel is going to have a little bit of everything, but mostly it's going to center on the build of this 64 Plymouth Belvedere to run in the AFX class. So I think for this first episode, I'm just going to follow this up with a little bit of footage of some of our racing that we had this last year, 2020. I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm a member of the Lamar Walden Automotive Motorsports team. Myself, Rob Walden, and next year we're going to have Robbie Walden racing with us. We're going to be fielding 3 cars next year. I'm going to have some footage of the B-Gas car as we're putting it together. And of course, I'll get some footage of Rob's A-Gas Willis, throw in here, mixing it out. Like I said, mostly it's going to be about my FX build, but you know, it's got some good footage. We'll throw that in there of the other cars racing also. So just enjoy this footage of some of the highlights of our 2020 season. And then after that, we're going to go to an explanation of the AFX class that we're building this car for. So the AFX class started in probably 63, 64, somewhere in that area. I know by 64 it was established. And what it was the factory teams were trying to one-up each other, and they started building these cars that had altered wheelbases, which means they would stretch them or mostly just move the rear end forward and the front end forward, keep close to a stock length wheelbase, but everything was pushed forward for better weight transfer. And it's really the predecessor to what's commonly known these days as the funny cars, you know, like John Force, people like that run in the flip tops. Flip tops really didn't start coming around till 67, 68. I know there's some debate on what the first flip top cars were, but that's about the area where you started to. By 70, they were very much mostly all floppers at that point. Again, it started with the factory. The first, I don't know, handful of cars on both sides were factory back, factory built cars. But then about 65, 66, AFX got kind of weird. It got bastardized a little bit. AFX cars started running different manufacturer engine. They weren't factory based anymore. A lot of that had to do with the manufacturer's bans, like in 66, and when the Hemis got kicked out of NASCAR, stuff like that. So the AFX cars kind of, you know, the range that the Southeast Gassers aim for with the AFX cars is, I believe it's 63 to 67, if I'm not mistaken, I believe is the time frame that they classify them, just because that was kind of the heyday of the AFX class. Again, like I said, this one's a 64 that I'm building, and these kind of cars here were a lot of them were factory based cars. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Mopar actually sold AFX kits that could come about for you could buy the torsion bars, you could get the rear ends, all the stuff you needed to alter the wheelbase, stuff like that. So they are kind of a factory available, we call it an option, but you could buy it through your dealer to get the parts you needed to make these altered wheelbase cars. And they kind of caught on pretty good. It was about the same time the Gasser wars were going on. The Gasser classes became real big. They were, you know, most of the AFX cars ran methanol, which we were allowed to run methanol, and all the other Sega classes are gasoline, as they should be for a Gasser class. So that pretty much sums it up. Again, like I said, the term funny car was actually coined from the odd looks that these cars had because of the altered wheelbase. They looked funny. So the term funny car came, and it kind of stuck. And like I said, AFX kind of died off after 67, 68. They became funny cars. So that's pretty much the origin of the class. But in here, I'm going to throw in some footages from a good friend of mine and our Sega photographer, Caleb Sewell, and his wife, Samantha Sewell. They have a great website. I'm going to link it below. But they do all the photography, and they got some really great shots. And I'm going to show you some of the AFX cars that we're currently competing in the class, and I'll be racing with next year. Give you a quick little view. Again, this is a 1964 Plymouth Belvedere altered wheelbase car. This isn't an original car. This is a replica car. It was built some 20 years ago, I believe around the Boston area. I bought it from a gentleman in the Beaufort, Georgia area that had it for 20 plus years sitting in storage. Currently has the 8 3/4. I'm going to be switching that over to a Ford 9-inch just because of the availability of gear ratios. These wheels aren't correct, and tires. I just got that stuff in. Be changing that over. I've also got a Ron Pope Motorsports 2-inch drop front axle coming in. And again, like I said, this is just kind of a little teaser of the car. There's going to be a lot of footage of this car being built over the next few weeks, so stay tuned and more to come.